In 2014, over 675 food products were pulled from American shelves. The reason was ground cumin. Suppliers had been grinding up peanut shells and mixing them into the cumin to stretch supply after a catastrophic harvest in India. Nearly 600,000 pounds of meat products were destroyed. The FDA received 32 reports of allergic reactions. And that was just the batch they caught. Here is what most people do not realize. Cumin is one of the most used spices in the country. It goes into your chili, your tacos, your curries, your hummus, your soups, your rubs. And according to independent lab testing, a significant portion of the ground cumin sitting on grocery store shelves right now contains elevated levels of lead, arsenic, and cadmium. You are paying full price for a product that may be part filler, part heavy metal, and part marketing. But not every brand failed the audit. One of the brands I found cost less than $6 and tested cleaner than jars selling for twice the price. I spent over 40 hours auditing every major cumin brand on the shelf to find the truth, and the results were not what I expected. To understand how cumin gets corrupted, you have to understand the economics behind it. Over 75% of the world's cumin supply comes from India. The crop is labor-intensive to harvest, and yields swing dramatically year to year based on weather. When a harvest fails, wholesale prices spike overnight. And when prices spike, someone in the supply chain decides the easiest solution is to stretch the product. Now the math is ugly. Adding just 1% peanut shells to a 10-ton batch of ground cumin costs nothing, zero, but it generates $350 to $400 in pure profit. Scale that across hundreds of tons moving through brokers in India and Turkey, and you're looking at millions in fraudulent revenue. The shells get ground to a fine powder. They look like cumin. They weigh like cumin. They just are not cumin. When Consumer Reports tested 126 herb and spice products in 2021, roughly one-third had combined levels of arsenic, lead, and cadmium high enough to pose health concerns. In 31 of those products, lead levels alone exceeded the maximum amount anyone should consume in a single day. And here is where the system fails you. The FDA has no federal limit on heavy metals and spices. Not for lead, not for arsenic, not for cadmium, none. New York is the only state in the entire country that regulates lead in spices, with a threshold of 1 part per million. California slaps a warning label on products above half a part per million, but does not ban them. Everywhere else, the label that says 100% ground cumin is self-policed. No mandatory purity testing, no routine allergen screening on imports. And after the largest cumin recall in American history, the FDA never pursued criminal charges. If you think buying organic protects you, it does not. The USDA organic certification does not include heavy metal testing. Consumer Reports tested organic and conventional spices side by side and found no consistent difference. The word organic on a cumin jar tells you something about how the seed was farmed. It tells you nothing about what happened to it after harvest. The skip list. Let us get into it. 5 cumin brands that failed the audit. Skip number 1, Badia Ground. Cumin Badia is one of the biggest latent spice brands in America. The jar's cheap, the branding feels traditional, and the ingredient list says one word, yes, cumin. Flip the jar. Consumer Reports flagged Badia Ground cumin in their 2021 investigation for concerning levels of heavy metals. This was not an isolated finding. Badia showed up again in their cinnamon analysis with elevated lead, which tells you this is not a cumin problem. This is a sourcing problem. The company sells at razor-thin margins by buying on the global commodity market at the lowest available price. When the entire business model is built on cost, quality is what gets sacrificed. That jar may list one ingredient, but the lab results tell a very different story. Now, skip number 2, Great Value Ground. Cumin Walmart's private label, the cheapest cumin on the shelf, positioned as the smart budget pick for families. The ingredient list tells a different story. Great Value Ground cumin was flagged in the Consumer Reports heavy metals investigation, but the problems go deeper. In 2022, a class action lawsuit was filed against Walmart alleging that its great value herbs and spices contain arsenic, cadmium, and lead that are never disclosed on the label. Consumer Reports specifically named Great Value as part of a combination alongside 2 other popular brands, where just 1/4 teaspoon of each spice in a single dish will produce enough combined heavy metal exposure to raise health concerns. This is a logistical magic trick. You think you are saving money. What you are actually doing is subsidizing the cheapest supply chain Walmart's procurement team can find. Skip number 3, Trader Joe's organic ground cumin. This one surprises people. The packaging says organic in large friendly letters. The Trader Joe's brand carries a halo of curation and trust. The price feels premium but accessible. Read the fine print. Actually, there is no fine print. It's heard that is the problem. Consumer Reports flagged Trader Joe's organic ground cumin and specifically named it in their reporting as a product with concerning heavy metal levels. The organic label gave millions of consumers a false sense of security. The USDA organic standard does not test for lead, arsenic, or cadmium. Trader Joe's does not publicly disclose its cumin suppliers, sourcing countries, or any internal heavy metal testing thresholds. When Consumer Reports reached out to spice companies for comment, Trader Joe's was not among those that provided details about their quality control programs. The trust is built on store design and packaging, not on what is inside the jar. Skip number 4. Bollner's Fiesta Ground, Comino, a Texas institution. The Fiesta branding evokes Tex-Mex authenticity and regional pride. If you shop in the Southwest, you have seen it. But regional branding is not a quality guarantee. Bollner's Fiesta Ground Comino was flagged by Consumer Reports in the concerning category for heavy metals, right alongside the big box store brands. When asked about their quality controls, the company said they require suppliers to have heavy metal programs. They did not say what their thresholds are. They did not share any test results. A Texas label on the front does not change where the cumin was grown, who processed it, or what is actually in the jar. They source from the same global commodity market as everyone else. Skip number 5. Generic unbranded bulk cumin. This is the one that should concern you the most. No label, no brand, no traceability, loose cumin sold by weight from open bins at ethnic grocery stores and discount markets. This is where the worst adulteration lives. In 2017, the Sol Andino brand of ground cumin was recalled after testing revealed lead levels at 1,090 parts per million. That lead came from lead chromate, a bright yellow industrial pigment added deliberately to enhance color and inflate weight. In 2024, police near Mumbai recovered over 20,000 kilograms of fake cumin manufactured from fennel seed waste, wood shavings, and chemical powder. A CDC study found that nearly 29% of spice samples from homes of children with elevated blood lead levels were contaminated, and those samples were predominantly imported, loosely packaged spices from exactly these kinds of stores. No brand accountability, no testing, no one watching. You do not need a laboratory to start auditing the cumin in your kitchen. Here are 3 tests you can do right now with things you already have. Test 1, the water test. Drop a teaspoon of your ground cumin into a glass of water. Do not stir. Wait 2 to 3 minutes. Pure cumin powder will mostly settle to the bottom of the glass. Fillers, husk, sawdust, rice flour, powdered starch will float to the surface. If there is a visible layer of a material sitting on top of the water, your cumin has been bulked up. For whole cumin seeds, genuine seeds sink. If they float or fall apart, they are not real cumin. Test 2, the rub and smell test. Pinch some cumin between your fingers and rub hard for 10 seconds. Real cumin releases a strong, warm, earthy aroma immediately. You should be able to smell it from arm's length. If the scent is faint, chemical, or basically non-existent, you are holding either diluted product or spent seeds. There are seeds that already had their essential oils extracted for the fragrance industry and were then repackaged and sold as food-grade cumin. For whole seeds, if your palms turn black after rubbing, those seeds are coated. Likely grass seeds disguised with charcoal dust. Test 3, the wet paper towel test. Place a pinch of ground cumin on a damp white paper towel. Wait 2 minutes. Pure cumin will leave a mild, natural, yellowish brown mark. If you see bright yellow, orange, or red streaks bleeding out fast, your cumin has been dyed, potentially with lead chromate, the same industrial pigment that triggered the Sol Andino recall. The real list now for the brands that earned their place. Real number 1, Burlap and Barrel, Wild Mountain Cumin. This is the cumin that changed how I think about spices entirely. Burlap and Barrel sources their Wild Mountain Cumin from foragers in the Hindu Kush mountains of Afghanistan. The seeds are botanically distinct from standard cumin, tiny, black, and wildly aromatic. Non-irradiated, non-GMO. No fillers, no anti-caking agents, no coloring, no middlemen. The company was founded in 2016 by Ethan Frisch and Ori Zohar. They source directly from farmer cooperatives and small farms across more than a dozen countries, paying farmers 2 to 10 times the standard commodity price. That is the critical difference. When farmers are paid fairly, the economic incentive to adulterate disappears at the source. Every single product lists the specific farm, farmer, and country of origin. Full traceability from soil to jar. A 1.8 ounce jar runs about $10. That sounds steep until you open the lid. The flavor is so concentrated that you use half as much per dish. Chef Rick Martinez keeps it in his pantry. Bon Appetit and Serious Eats have both endorsed the brand, and once you smell this cumin, you will understand why everything else on the shelf smells like nothing. Rule number 2. Simply organic, single origin. Turkish cumin. This is the value play. The brand I recommend to anyone who says clean cumin is too expensive. Simply Organic's single origin. Turkish cumin is USDA, certified organic, kosher, non-irradiated, and sourced through a single origin supply chain. But here's what puts them on this list. Simply Organic told Consumer Reports that they have voluntarily adopted New York State's heavy metal limits, the strictest in the country, and that they conduct comprehensive inspections and product testing on every single incoming shipment of raw material. They are not waiting for the FDA to act. They set their own standard. Simply Organic is part of Frontier Co-op, a member-owned cooperative based in Iowa since 1976. Their sourcing program in Rajasthan, India, works with a partner called Swanee Spice Mills and 250 farmers across several villages. They even funded dedicated threshing machines for those farmers to prevent cross-contamination with pesticide-treated equipment. That is not a marketing story printed on the back of a jar. That is real infrastructure investment in the supply chain. The single-origin Turkish cumin retails for about $5 to $6, and clean, tested, traceable, under $6. That is your consumer win. Rule number 3, part 6, spices. Penzeys does something that almost no other spice company does at their scale. They grind their own spices in-house and test raw materials before grinding. This matters more than almost anything else on this list because the single most effective way to prevent cumin adulteration is to control the grinding process. Pre-ground cumin from an anonymous overseas facility is where fillers, dyes, and spent seeds enter the supply chain. Penzeys cuts that risk entirely. The company was founded in 1986 by Bill Penzey Jr. in Muskego, Wisconsin. It grew from a family mail order catalog into over 70 retail stores. They have never tried to compete on price with commodity brands. They compete on freshness, quality, and the fact that they can tell you exactly what went into the grinder. Ground cumin runs approximately $4 to $7 depending on jar size. Competitive with McCormick, but with a sourcing and processing model that is meaningfully more transparent. 5 brands that failed the audit, 3 that earned their spot. And a regulatory system so broken that the FDA still has not set a single federal limit on heavy metals in the spices you feed your family every day. The cumin industry does not want you to flip the jar. They do not want you to ask where it was grown, who processed it, or whether a single person tested it before it reached the shelf. They want you to see the price, grab the jar, and keep moving. Do not keep moving. Your health is not a commodity for these corporations to optimize. The next time you reach for cumin, read the label, ask the questions, run the tests, and choose the brands that can actually answer. The food industry lies because you have the right to know the truth. Subscribe because we are just getting started.